Imagine a warm night in June in the ancient city of Babylon. A great king lies in a grand tent, a conqueror of worlds. Led his armies thousands of miles from the green hills of Macedonia. Fought legendary battles, toppled the Persian Empire, founded cities in his name. Met with kings, philosophers, priests, absorbing foreign wisdom. Now, at his peak, he is weak and feverish, his body succumbing to illness. Alexander the Great died at 32. We all know this story. But what if he had lived? Alexander was born in 356 BCE in Pella, the capital of Macedon, a hardy kingdom on the northern fringes of the Greek world. His father was the formidable King Philip II. His mother was the Epirote princess, Olympias. From a young age, Alexander was groomed for greatness. His personal tutor was Aristotle, science, medicine, the wider world. He learned the art of war from his father. When Philip was assassinated in 336 BCE, Alexander, at just 20, ascended the throne. He quickly secured his power. He launched the invasion of the Persian Empire. Granicus River, Issus, Gaugamela. He shattered the armies of Darius III. Had Alexander survived his illness in Babylon? His first and most critical task would have been to consolidate his rule and establish a lasting political structure. 10 more years. 20 more years would have given him the precious time needed to transform his military conquest into a functioning, stable administration. He had already shown an aptitude for pragmatic governance, often retaining local Persian satraps who proved loyal and competent. A longer reign would have allowed him to fully integrate these experienced officials: Persian officials, Macedonian administrators, Greek administrators. This fusion of Eastern and Western ruling classes could have created a more efficient and resilient bureaucracy, one that understood the diverse customs and needs of the empire's vast population, reducing the risk of rebellion. A living Alexander could have definitively settled the question of succession. He might have had a son with one of his wives, Roxana, Statera, and personally groomed him to rule. He could have established a clear line of inheritance, supported by laws and the sworn loyalty of his generals. Resources squandered in successor wars could instead strengthen borders, build infrastructure, foster internal prosperity. A unified legal code, expanded roads connecting the Mediterranean to India, and standardized currency would bind the empire tightly. Such stability would alter geopolitics, relations with the Mauryan Empire, pressure on Scythians, delaying Parthia, even reshaping Rome's rise. A longer, more stable reign under Alexander would have acted as a powerful catalyst for economic and cultural exchange on a scale never before witnessed. With peace secured from the Adriatic Sea to the Indus River, trade routes would have become safer and more lucrative. The vast network of roads and sea lanes would have buzzed with activity, carrying goods, carrying ideas, carrying languages, carrying beliefs. A merchant could have loaded silks, loaded spices in an Indian port, traded for Persian carpets in Susa, and sold Greek pottery and olive oil in Alexandria. This intermingling would have created a vibrant, cosmopolitan economy, enriching cities and creating a new class of international traders and artisans. Think of the cultural fusion already beginning. Alexander famously organized the mass weddings at Susa. Alexander himself, 80 of his top officers married noble Persian women in a grand ceremony. He encouraged his soldiers to do the same, hoping to create a new, mixed ruling elite. A cornerstone policy of fusion, Greek language and philosophy spreading east, Persian administration, Egyptian concepts, and Indian philosophies flowing west, blending most visibly in arts and architecture. Early signs appear in Gandharan art, Greco-Buddhist forms. Identities shift toward a cosmopolis, local customs persisting, coin unifying, shared identity forged through trade, intermarriage, and common government. One of the most profound consequences of Alexander's extended life would have been a golden age of science and scholarship. Peace and prosperity are the soil in which knowledge grows, and a stable, unified empire would have provided the ideal conditions for intellectual advancement. Alexander himself had a deep personal interest in science, instilled by his tutor Aristotle. He took botanists, zoologists, and surveyors to document plants, animals, and geography. The city of Alexandria, which he founded, would have become the undisputed intellectual capital. The Great Library, Alexander's own pet project, funded to gather every scroll from Greece, Persia, Egypt, and India. Scholars, scientists, and philosophers would flock there, collaborating, debating, building on each other's work. Discovery could accelerate. Euclid, Eratosthenes, and Hero of Alexandria, pushed further, faster by royal patronage. Imagine Babylonian observations fused with Greek models, perhaps a more accurate heliocentric theory long before Copernicus. Doctors blending traditions could make breakthroughs in public health. Engineering and mechanics might yield complex water, or even steam-powered devices, cautiously, perhaps centuries earlier than in our timeline. Alexander was first and foremost a military genius. His death cut short a career that was still evolving. Had he lived, focus would shift from conquest to a permanent imperial army. Not purely Macedonian or Greek, but truly imperial, integrating Persian cavalry, Indian and Egyptian units, perfecting a model combining phalanx shock with mobile archers and unique regional strengths. A powerful tool for internal peace and long frontier defense. Permanent colonies and veteran settlements foster imperial loyalty and future recruitment. Alexander was already worshipped in places like Egypt. A ruler cult was emerging in the Greek world. He might promote syncretism, Zeus with Amun, Baal, fostering tolerance and uniting worship. Elevating himself above rivals makes rebellion sacrilege. Divinity becomes ideological glue. A long-lived Alexander could become the living symbol and object of unity and power. The death of Alexander the Great at 32 was a pivotal moment, a hinge upon which history turned. His short, brilliant life was one of conquest. A longer life would have been one of construction. Had he survived the fever in Babylon, the world we know might be unrecognizably different. Instead of fractured kingdoms, imagine a single, stable empire stretching from Greece to India, political, cultural, and scientific fusion. Connected by safe roads and sea lanes, united by a cosmopolitan culture. Ideas supercharged by a library under its founder's direct patronage. Greek, Persian, and Indian arts and philosophies intertwine. Religions encounter each other in new ways. The political center might remain in the East, challenging Rome's ascent and altering Europe's trajectory. Of course, this is speculation. No utopia was guaranteed. Size, rebellions, and enemies would test any empire. Yet he was building bridges between East and West, a vision of strength and unity and diversity. His early death left a grand blueprint with only the foundations laid. We leave the story there, with the ghost of a different future. History is a tapestry of threads. Sever one and the pattern changes. Alexander's golden thread was cut too short.